Hello, everyone. Kevin here with the Parts and Service Desk. I hope you're having a great Turkey Day here. Finally got the opportunity to sit down after some crazy past few days and talk to you about something that's a little long overdue since attending the SEMA show. So as you all know, we went to SEMA this year for 2021, and it has kind of been weighing on me a little bit, uh, uh, just how different the feeling of the show was this year. Um, it's kind of funny because it's odd how it almost seems like there's not a whole lot of people talking about it. There's occasionally a couple little articles here and there, and if you dig through enough different pages of Google, you might find a couple things, but it's not really there for the masses. And the thing that I want to talk about is how dead the show was this year. And don't get me wrong, I love SEMA. I think it's a great trade show. I think it's definitely something as a business owner, it's a must attend event. You could definitely go yearly. Sometimes when you go every year, it kind of seems like everything is the same. So it's nice to take a break from it here and there. Having the pandemic thing going on was kind of odd to actually see in November 2020 that they canceled the show. But I guess with good reason after seeing what this show looked like. I was absolutely amazed that there were so many vendors or manufacturers or exhibitors that pulled out of the show this year. A lot of big names. Again, kind of felt eerie almost. Now, granted, there's probably a couple other factors that added to the show seeming a lot more empty, more open, and spread out. There was no international exhibitors. Maybe a handful of some folks that base some of their production here in the United States that were able to fly in, but I mean just that, a handful. Your regular, droves of people, especially in the back end of the South Hall where they usually have the tire retailers from a lot of other countries, nothing. There were no tire vendors in the South Hall. With the expansion of the Las Vegas Convention Center opening the West Hall, it seemed like if you were an exhibitor, that was the place you wanted to be. They moved all of the truck and off-road that was normally in the South Hall over to the West Hall. They had a great parking kind of set up out there for outdoor displays. That was where the action was. All the rest, the North, the Central, and South Hall, I hate to say it was just kind of bland. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few great booths that don't disappoint. I'm a huge Ford guy, and always Ford's booth is probably, in my opinion, the best. I like a lot of the other manufacturers. I'm not diehard blue, if it ain't blue, it ain't me. I like everybody. Chevy's always got a really nice setup. They've always got some cool innovation in their booth. Mopar has got always a really, really nice setup. They've got a lot of old cars combined with the new models that are in their booth, but they're kind of tucked away. They've got a smaller booth. They really don't jump out or stand out like GM and Ford. Of course, Ford's got their out front display. So there's kind of a lot there that still makes it feel like home, but man, it was kind of odd just to walk through. We go there for SEMA for quite a bit of what we do in addition to the parts and service desk. We've got a couple online retail businesses for performance parts and accessories. I'm sure you can find that online if you search a little bit. So definitely we're there to check out new products, meet with some vendors and distributors of our existing products, and kind of get the gist of what's up and coming. That way it can be brought to you in the forefront, so that way you can always be up to date and have the best. So one of the things that I did, now I'm not a videographer by any means, is kind of took a little bit of video just so you can kind of see where I'm coming from on this lack of exhibitors that's at the show. And I'll go ahead and kind of chime that in here. And I'll kind of talk through it as we go, just so you can see. So I'm sorry for the kind of glitchy video. Didn't have the gimbal with me, but let's take a look and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So When we start this video, kind of how I came into the show, typically I'll usually take the bus. I went into the South Hall this time. I quickly went upstairs because I wanted to kind of knock a few things out. So in that far south end, there was usually a lot of like the new product vendors, or I'm sorry, the new vendors or exhibitors. So this is all new product showcase now up in that upper area. You can see all the pipe and drape off in the distance. Normally, this upper central hall is full and packed. So here we've got, we kind of skipped ahead a little bit faster than I would have liked. So I'll go back. In this upper south hall here, all this pipe and drape that you see, the guy in the shirt there that's kind of walking toward us, another guy walking out, all the way to that back wall is probably close to the equivalent of a football field. I'm about at the 2/3 point of that upper south hall. And I mean, there is so much open space. Like I was just amazed at how much they were trying to do the best they could to kind of mask the fact that there was not a lot of vendors there. And this pipe and drape, it's kind of common in the convention and visitors bureau industry. A lot of convention centers have this. It's great for masking off areas like we were doing here. We see they're doing, I should say. And it's kind of a norm in that industry to direct flows of traffic or create different walls and barriers, flow through, pass through areas. So it's something that's commonly used. Again, as you can see here, the new product showcase really was kind of open. I kind of missed that kind of hallway passover from the central to the south hall where they usually had it in those meeting rooms. Even though the meeting rooms were kind of tight, it was really well lit there. Here, I think a lot of the lighting kind of came from a lot of the display cases. So I liked it. I liked the concept of it. I don't know if I had that same more technical kind of in-depth feel that I used to have. As we pan over in this area, now again, this is where a lot of new exhibitors would be. So kind of odd, there really wasn't any new exhibitors there. Look at all this open space. This is normally full of booths, display cars, just really kind of amazing to see. As it goes down this end here, what normally would have been either in parts of the lower section of the South Hall, where like Hunter Engineering for their alignment racks and everything, you've got a lot of lift companies out there for their 2-post and 4-post lifts. Their little bit of what they had is up here in this upper section of the South Hall. Now, again, look, completely open. So after I left the upper South Hall, I kind of was a little all over the place. I went to the North Hall. So here in this area, you can see the Chip Foose design experience. This was completely open. It was shocking how open it was. Plenty of room to walk through. I almost kind of felt like I was at a Good Guys event. There's Bruno Massell. You probably know him from Truck U, among many other shows and being in the NHRA. But you can see a lot of Foose's cars here, the great banners of a lot of his vehicles that are up on the walls, and just kind of amazing that this is this open. I'm sure he got a pretty good deal to bring his cars out and kind of fill some space. But again, this is the North Hall where normally a lot more of those tools and lift kit or lifts and stuff like that are at. Not here, all in the upper central hall or South Hall. So again, really neat display setup, really nice, very clean, crisp. But I kind of felt like I was at one of the halls at a Good Guys event. So here in this area, as you can see from this title that I put up, now I'm in the central hall. I'm in kind of that east end. If you're looking at one of the SEMA maps, I'm on the east end. That normally is where a lot of the performance folks are at. You'll kind of see as we walk through, normally kind of in this back section here, this is where GoPro would be kind of off to my right. Alpha Rex lighting, Oracle is actually here. You'll see them in just a minute. They're kind of off in the distance with their display. Spider also has a booth here, but normally you've got all kinds of automotive lighting that's in this section here. Kind of, again, very odd to see all of the open spaces here. Really, really kind of sad. It's kind of again, an experience in itself walking through. Now, if this was your first time going to SEMA, you probably were, like everyone, blown away. I still saw a lot of first timers or folks that might not come very often. It is a great place that if you have like a small shop or something of that sort, you can grab one of their mini, like this guy's got on the back of his electric chair. You can get a lot of these bags, stuff them full of brochures and catalogs. If you're a SEMA veteran, like many, you probably don't do that. You just, everything's digital. You meet, greet people. You get digital business cards that you can just tag people through on your telephone. It's definitely a lot more mainstream, and you kind of know the role if you've been there. Here we've kind of taken that more eastern side. This is where usually like Race Deck is. A lot of the different plastic click together floor companies, as I like to call them. I mean, they even had flag people in here selling political flags. They were really trying to fill the spaces. Traxxas wasn't even here this year. QA1, still, they had a great booth that never disappoints. As we transition over, going through the center section of South Hall, the kind of divider in that whole area that really is what everyone knows leads into Hot Rod Alley is the Ford booth. This is someplace that I usually spend most of my time, since a lot of the performance parts and accessories that I work with are all Ford. So something that is pretty cool. Kind of taking a quick walk through here that you look at and get to see. So with this, I think Vaughn Gittin was here, just got done doing an interview and getting ready to do some autograph signing. As you can see, they've got the new F-150 Lightning there. Really love the concept with the name, utilizing it as the electric truck now, calling it the Lightning. Kind of sad that it's not the Lightning as we all know, kind of the purists or the folks that have been around Ford for a while, as the performance line. But granted, you can get a lot of power out of some of these electric vehicles. So great that they've kind of transitioned the name over. Kind of excited to see how it performs. As you can see, there's a lot of folks that do some customizing and some awesome jobs between the F-150s, the Rangers, from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. The kind of off-road overlanding theme has been big for about the past 5 to 7 years, so you see a lot of that. Still, you have some of your street-style trucks that are there, but Ford never disappoints. They've always got awesome displays. They're really kind of ahead of the curve in what they're showing in customization and performance. Just off to the left, you might have noticed that was a quick snap of the new concept truck that Ford had, the F100, with the new E-Crate Illuminator, or Illuminator they're calling it, a $3,900 electric motor that you can buy through Ford Performance. That is just the motor itself. You still have to look at getting the cooling system, all the different hoses in line. So there's going to be a lot coming around with that package that we're looking forward to seeing as well. There's the Rtr Bronco that Vaughn Gittin is promoting there. Really a nice looking truck. Again, Ford always has some awesome type of displays for their vehicle of choice. This year, this show, which you'll probably see a lot in this video or in other videos if you haven't heard already, it was a Bronco show. 2019, it was a Supra show. This year, it was pretty much Bronco took the stage. There were also a lot of the C8 Corvettes. Those were really big this year. But again, Broncos really kind of led the pack. It's a really cool setup there that was set up for a fireman type deal there, turned it into a Bronco truck. Watch out for that. I think there's going to be a lot of those conversion kits coming. I think that's going to be huge. Kind of give that retro throwback, but really give that regular cab two-door or possibly even a four-door, if they offer it for that, a lot of versatility. Now here, of course, we're kind of getting to the other end of Ford's booth. And if you're not aware from being there, that Ford booth takes up quite a bit of space. I mean, it is absolutely massive. It goes from, the halls are like big giant rectangles. It goes from width-wise end to end of that hall. So pretty big, as you can see. And I kind of went back just so you can get another look of kind of how big it is. You can see from the other end there and then it comes back this way as soon as we pan around, how large it is. And there's a view of Hot Rod Alley. But now look over here as we pass this Bronco and these accessories displays, you can see we're getting near the end of the hall. There's the other end of the sides of the hall. So it's a massive display. Now this here, I was kind of standing in the Ford booth. This is a look out at Hot Rod Alley. Superformance, which is kind of known. They've had a few locations. I think they were in even South Africa building some cars. But a really good display this year. They had 9 cars of their different models. They're a company that basically, as you can see, they build Ford GT replicas. Really great quality. I went and looked at every one of these cars here at this show because I've always kind of fancied these cars. And if I was one of those really rich type folks and could afford an original, I would. But for those that can't afford one of the multi-million-dollar original cars or ones that are quite a few $100,000, $500,000 cars, these are a great alternative. The quality, the fit and finish is there. I mean, highly recommend. And on some of the older ones from a little while back, we even know a gentleman that used to paint them out of Ohio. They actually had a location in kind of the Ross Fairfield area, a Superformance location, and a lot of their cars were painted by a good friend of ours named Rod at Rod's Restoration Wizards. So definitely if you need something, hot rod or custom, I think he's a little ways out. Give him a shout. He can definitely get you an idea on getting something built for you. He does really good work. So we'll kind of move on here. Here now we're going through Hot Rod Alley. And this is where, again, it really kind of hit us of how much was missing. A lot of big name vendors that we normally would see just weren't there. Still a lot of great cars, but a lot of the vendors, exhibitors, whatever you want to call them, manufacturers, they just weren't there. You can see here, CVS, a great company for pulley and front runner systems. Their booth is pretty much the standard setup that they normally have. A lot of tabletop style booths here with the coverings on them to make them kind of professional looking, but not a lot going on. Here's the, I think this is March's booth. They also do pulleys and front runner kits, really good quality stuff. Their booth is kind of the same no matter where they go, from the NSRA to Good Guys. They've kind of got the same setup. But as we start to go down this aisle here, we're going to pan over. We're kind of near, if you're wondering where we're at, in that central hall, kind of going back towards Chevrolet, back towards Toyota and Acura and Honda. Look at this. Where's the booth at? No booth. Again, no booth. You'll notice through here as we're kind of peeking through, normally there are so many booths, pipe and drape kit up set up. I mean, it is so open. This is the first show that I have been to where I was not annoyed at all. Now, granted, again, I love this show, but no one was tripping over each other. There was so much room. There's the Chevrolet booth. Again, like Ford, they never disappoint. They're also, like Ford, in the same location every year, just like Mopar. But they had a lot of good stuff. And in another video, we'll kind of explore their booth a little bit. Again, look how open this is. Normally where this guy in the blue shirt and the person in the black is walking, you couldn't walk through there. There's booth space there. They made that an aisle. One of the things you'll see periodically through this video is the amount of benches there are, park style benches that they have set up, which I wish they had this for other shows, because look at tables. There's a lot of round tabletops there. If you wanted to get food from any random spot, you can go sit anywhere and eat your food. It's really cool they have that. But again, they normally don't have that because there's so many exhibitors there. Now here, I think this was part of Dynacorn's booth, if I believe. Some Bronco set up here. This is actually a company that offers electrification, converting kind of old cars into newer modern technology. Really kind of like that concept. Now, again, that's a whole nother conversation we can talk about, oh, well, the electricity's got to come from somewhere. You still got to dig stuff out of the ground for the batteries. There's a lot that goes into generating and powering all these power stations. That's an argument for another time. But again, this video here is just to kind of talk about the lack of everything that's at SEMA. Here you can see we kind of went through, did some walkthrough of some of the stuff. Hopefully you're not minding my narration as we look through this, but look how wide this aisleway is. Normally you can see the center line in the carpet. Normally it's only one width of carpet wide. So they had to really expand these aisles out as you go back further towards Toyota and Acura, just because they needed more space. One vendor that we really, really like a lot and would always see every year is TMI Products. They make some awesome replacement style interiors, some custom interiors. There was, I think, maybe 2 interior shops of the entire show here. TMI was not here. We were really kind of sad to see that because they're not too far away from Las Vegas. Pretty cool donk here. Really like the gold wires. You know, not normally the style that I would drive, but I would probably drive that, especially with the 454 in it that was supercharged. Again here, a lot of nice, clean cars. I think a lot of this was filler. I'm honestly shocked that with this show, there was not more manufacturers or distributors or anyone that were asking for display or show vehicles. This would have been the show to where if you had a really nice car that had a lot of great products on it and you took care of the car and it was put together well, you could have had it here because there was plenty of room for it. You probably could have even been someone that got looked highly on if you had a great quality build, because of course, as you search through YouTube, you're going to find there's a lot of videos that even still for this show the SEMA welds and sometimes how people build not a quality product because they're in the crunch to get to the show. Yeah, whatever. People do their thing. It's their thing. It's not ours. R3 here, really great quality product. I looked over their Mustang bodies really well. They kind of do like Dynacorn. There's a couple other companies out there that Thoroughbred, I think, is another one that makes these Mustang bodies. That was a really cool chassis setup there. So now here we are. I'll pause this real quick so you can see. There's the Chevrolet booth. Again, you can see their booth is usually always about this open. They've got that orange Colorado there, the Silverado, the black Colorado. There's a Silverado on the other side of that. They've got a lot of their OEM style custom wheels there. Really, they have a great setup. It's always nice and bright, easy to get through and see. There's all kinds of representatives in there that are willing to talk to you about buying a car or just some of the products that they have on display. They had back in 2019 their electrification setup in a C10, which I was kind of surprised. I didn't see that truck at the show this year. I didn't research to see if it was there, but they had all the battery set up in the bed. They had the electric motor in the engine bay, of course. Really a clean setup, but they did have the crate system there. So you can look for that. If you're a GM guy and you want to get kind of I think they did it off of the Volt. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was the Volt setup. You can buy that as like a crate motor, kind of a drop-in kit. So could be a pretty neat setup there. But check this out. You can see the folks on the strollers that are rentable. You can rent them from the convention center. Yeah, not my thing. I wish people would walk. They need the exercise. I know some folks can't, so no disrespect there, but these two guys, I saw them parking and walking. So you'll notice here, these 2 trash cans in the open space in the floor, there's normally booths here on both sides. So they would have booths on one side. There's more space missing. There's a park bench. Look at all, more park benches. Open booth space. There's another park bench. And more open space. Look, there's a trash can hanging out in a booth space. I wonder what they charge that trash can to sit there for the booth. Now, here's something really cool. Now, see this Mustang right here? This is actually a really cool Hamburgers superchargers. Kind of a neat setup. Really kind of like the concept behind it. As we zoom in here, check this out. So there's part of that supercharger display. As you kind of look through that little field of people there, you can see carpet on the other side. You can see people walking on another aisle. You can see other booth space. Where is everybody? So now it's Wednesday morning here. We came in a little later, slept in a little late, wanted to relax, watch a little bit of TV before coming to the show. It's probably like 11 o'clock Vegas time. And we're walking through, I think they call it the power aisle here. And this is all of the vehicles from the Optima Streetcar Invitational. So there's a lot that goes on the outside at the SEMA show. Again, if you've never been, they have the Optima Streetcar Challenge folks or the Invitational on the outside there. They sometimes have Continental Tires doing like a little road course drift section, kind of in front of the central hall and part of the north hall there. They've got Ford out front, which is always a great time. There's Mustangs out there that are drifting around the course, killing all tires. They had a great Bronco event out there, which I actually got to ride in one of those two-door Broncos, go up this crazy hill, which was pretty neat. They even had the Hoonigan guys out front again, doing their deal, which they got a really, really great burnout setup. I think probably 50% of the people that went to SEMA this year for 2021 were all just hanging outside at the Hoonigan booth, because that was kind of where it was at. So now in the West Hall, this was the creme de la creme. If you were at 2021 SEMA, you needed to be in the West Hall. So a lot going on here, still wide open space. But for the most part, these were, of all the booths, they were a lot nicer from all the other halls. So a lot of cool trucks in here. This is where everything that was kind of in the South Hall, so all your truck and off-road, a lot of your cool custom accessories, big booths from big names like Truck Hero, as you can see, a lot of lighting. That was all here in the South Hall. There's the guys over there at the Morimoto booth. The guys, I think, are the Retrofit Source now, called their parent company, Driven Lighting. Highly recommend those guys. Really great folks over there. So check them out if you really are into some cool lighting. Trail Effects had their display. Spent a little bit of time there checking some of their stuff out. You could see off in the distance there the Truck Hero booth. Really a great setup there. Normally, they have a lot more vehicles, but they kind of go with the luxury concept of their booth, because they know they've got great products. I mean, I'm sure obviously you can get a bad one here and there, but I really don't know too much of the Truck Hero products having a bad name. They always have got great quality. The fit and finish is always good, at least from the experience that I have had. Really, really liked a lot of their stuff. So from there, again, the off-roading kind of overlanding thing is really big still. We think it's going to be around for a long time. It's really growing in its niche. I was looking at some of the numbers the other day, and it's year over year, almost quarterly, the overlanding market is growing. So definitely something there that has been really nice to kind of follow and watch. So Jeeps, you kind of start seeing them a little bit more in this hall here. Still ton of Broncos everywhere. But again, really kind of open. This GMC Sierra was really nice. Look at that. We went from one headlight to another. That was kind of some of my video technical stuff there that I do. Really nice trucks overall that they had in their booth. So from there, look at that, more pipe and drape. This now is going towards the north end of the West Hall. Kind of down a little farther was the pro or professional restyling booth. Went and stopped and hung out there for a little bit, as I am a pro member. Not sure for how long, but been pretty good. Really nice Bugatti there. Not sure which model that is. Really don't follow Bugatti a whole lot. But again, nice aisles, nice setup. BDK had some really nice stuff for kind of OE type applications, steering wheel covers, floor mats. Adams Polishes, great company, small booth this year. It's kind of sad to see that. You'll see here, not a lot of people tripping over each other, very open aisleways, some nice eye candy to look at. Guy here kind of walking, but nobody is tripping over each other. In 2019, you were constantly, I mean, you're going through aisles like, pardon me, you'd pass people, you'd bump their shoulder, sorry, high five them or whatever. I mean, we're all respectful, but you're not tripping over anybody in this show compared to like 2 years ago, 3 years, 5 years. This show has even got less people that attended than compared to when I first started going to SEMA in 2007, 2008, after that whole economy crash at that time. There's even less people at this show. I think there was somewhere talking with some of my friends that the attendance was down by either 65 or 75%. I'd have to check on that exactly, but it's some really low attendance numbers. So yeah, definitely really concerning. I'm hoping that next year it's going to be a lot better show. So we'll just have to wait and see. One thing that I didn't really mention in the beginning that I want to make sure that a lot of folks are aware of is SEMA is or stands for the Specialty Equipment Market Association. It is an association. It is a trade show. This is an automotive trade. So if you are not aware and you see all kinds of YouTube videos and Twitch videos, Facebook, Rumble, whatever, everyone thinks this is just a really big car show and you can go to and just buy all kinds of cool stuff. The only thing you can buy here is SEMA apparel, t-shirts, hats, jackets. I'm surprised they don't sell pants, but I think they sell jogging pants, backpacks. I mean, everything. There's the cool guys from Diode Dynamics. Highly recommend them. A lot of cool guys there. Corey, Justin, definitely check them out. These guys build pretty much everything in the United States. Here is the pre-function area of the West Hall. This is outside. Now, normally a pre-function area, as they call it, that whole open floor area down there would normally be full of cars. Here's the outside area of the West Hall. So we were getting ready to head back to the hotel. We took a long walk, left from here, and walked all the way back to the hotel on the southern end of the strip. But again, this is a trade show. This convention center goes on once a year in November in Las Vegas because it's the largest convention center that normally would hold this show. Nice upper terrace there. There's a lot of parties that were there going on in the after hours of the show. But when you attend this show, or if you come to this show, it is not like what people think. This is the first year to where on Friday, a member of the general public, you could go in and be a part of this trade show. I'm sure there are a lot of folks that were just general public that don't own businesses or anything, went into there and thought it was cool because there's a lot of neat cars to see. Well, there's usually a ton more cars to see. In addition to that, not only is there a lot of cool cars to see, there's a lot of cool, great manufacturers to talk to. If you want to talk about getting a turbo for your Honda or your street rod or supercharger or custom exhaust, you can talk to all these guys, which is normally what we as retail businesses, storefronts, online retailers do. We're talking to them, we're building relationships. So that way for you, the general public, we can bring you a great product at a great price. Now, I'm kind of torn on this whole Friday SEMA experience. Again, this is a trade show. I don't know how I fully feel about the fact that it was allowable for the general public to come into the show. But on the positive side of that, if you're a young entrepreneur and you're into automotive, this was probably a great thing to have, to where you could come to this show. Maybe you've thought about kind of starting a business. You're not quite there yet. You want to get a business license. You want to start a website. You want to have a building, whatever your fancy. And you wanted to kind of see what you were getting immersed into. So then yes, Friday would be great. I think they kind of should have put some restrictions on this to some point as to who they let in. But I also think the reason why they opened it up on Friday is because attendance was down from buyers and everybody else. So they needed to fill spots. Good, bad, or indifferent. I think everyone should understand and realize who aren't in the industry and aren't in the business, that are just general public type folks, just regular people like you and me that always look at this stuff on YouTube, that this is a trade show. It's a trade show. It is made for people that are in the business to talk to people to bring a product. In the evening on Fridays is when they normally have SEMA Ignited, which used to be called the Sema Cruise, because all the cars would leave, and typically all the cars that are on display, because they're cars that have products from those manufacturers, they would then go cruise the strip before they'd get loaded up on their truck that night or the next day. They'd just cruise around the strip. Well, now they kind of funnel them over into one of the lots, which I think it's still the gold lot this year. It's next to the West Hall, and have a big party that anyone from the general public can come to. And it's a really good time. That's where you can kind of get up and close with the cars. You can see them. They're not cheap. You know, bear in mind, if you go and you've got kids, be mindful, be respectful, because, you know, folks do spend a lot of hard time on putting these cars together. They're high quality for the most part. I mean, obviously, again, we could go into some of the craziness that goes together through the Sema Crunch and all the different builds, but respectfully, they all do a great job. No matter what you're into, no matter what your favorite or fancy is, everything from the import tuner to the muscle car to the lifted trucks to the lower trucks. They've had a few years, they've had semi trucks. They've got something for everybody's taste, but be respectful. Again, if you come to the show with kids, make sure you kind of keep them rounded up. I've been to this show before and seen kids on the outside riding bikes through the show, and I've actually grabbed them by the handlebars, said, no, you can't be here doing this, brought security over to have them politely escort them off. Because all you need to be is an owner of one of these cars and have a little kid ride his bike through, not paying attention, fall over, scratch a really expensive Pagani, Lamborghini, a really badass built Mustang. I mean, you got to remember, some of these cars are a couple $100,000, $1 million cars. So a lot to think about when you go to the show. Big point, be respectful and enjoy yourself. Don't get too sauced up on the alcohol, even though it's still a fun time. So again, if you've watched this, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Again, my name is Kevin with the Parts and Service Desk. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving and a great Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy time with your family. Remember that no matter what, your family should always come first in life, next to God and country, you know, or God first and then family and then country. But be respectful, love thy neighbor, no matter what your political views are. It shouldn't matter. We should all be here to take care of each other. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great evening and a good night. Take care. My name's Kevin with the Parts and Service Desk. Peace.